Welcome to A Marvelous Life. I'm Nashology, and today we are covering one of the biggest Marvel events of the early 2000s, Secret Invasion. Now, if you watched the show on Disney+, then you might have been a bit let down. The show, although hyped, didn't utilize Nick Fury in a way that would have made the comics proud. And in turn, the pacing and the story itself was a bit of a mess. Well, for all of you new to comics, now it's time to see what the source material is all about. Before we get started, make sure you go back and watch all of my videos on the new Avengers saga over on this channel. That'll take you all the way back from the formation of the new Avengers through the Civil War and straight to Secret Invasion. The Skrulls have infiltrated Earth, and they're here to take the planet away from humanity. Is everyone who they say they are? Or has someone been a Skrull this entire time? Only time will tell. Without further ado, this is the story of Secret Invasion. They had been planning this for years, an invasion to end all invasions, and they won't stop until the Earth is theirs. A home to 8 billion souls, weak, fragile sacks of flesh, undeserving of their home. They are a cesspit within the solar system, just begging for the plug to be pulled. And it will. The pieces are almost gathered. The game is on. It's the middle of the night and Tony Stark springs awake. It's Jessica Drew, Spider-Woman, and she's not alone. Throwing the dead green body to the floor, Jessica speaks coldly to Tony Stark. He's going to want to listen to what she has to say. Only a short while ago, they were on different sides of the Civil War. Tony Stark against Captain America. The heroes were divided down the middle. Brother against brother. Avenger against Avenger. And it was a miracle the war ended before all of New York was destroyed. It was a war that never should have happened. And unfortunately for the heroes, the war did not end without bloodshed. They were on different sides of the Civil War, but they need to put that behind them because something bigger is coming. Tony looks down at the dead body. It's unmistakable, a Skrull. But what is Spider-Woman doing with a dead Skrull? Realizing she has no choice but to trust Tony Stark, Spider-Woman explains the events of the last 24 hours. The new Avengers arrived in Japan to save Maya Lopez, who was undercover in the Japan underworld. She was taken by Elektra, the new master of the Hand organization. But she didn't remain master for long. With a fatal strike from Maya Lopez, the truth was revealed. Elektra was a Skrull imposter. The Skrulls have arrived, and the Japan crime underworld is likely not the only place they have infiltrated. Jessica tells Tony that if the Skrulls are coming, they need to be prepared. And right now, there is no one more capable of preparing the planet than Iron Man. Looking down at the Skrull body, Tony feels an emotion that is quite alien to him: fear. Jessica continues her story. After a devastating plane crash on the way home from Japan, Jessica used this opportunity to steal the Skrull body from the new Avengers. She knew Tony had to be let in on the secret, even if it meant betraying her friends. A war is coming, and the new Avengers have no idea who's a Skrull. Not even Wolverine could detect this one. Chances are they're everywhere. Maybe there's one on the Avengers right now. If only Nick Fury was still around. If only he hadn't disappeared without a trace. Nobody knows where he is. He's gone underground. And without Fury here, the Skrulls will have an advantage. Tony tells Jessica that they need to keep this quiet. If word gets out, it could get back to the Skrulls. It could push the invasion forward. The war between the Avengers and the new Avengers needs to end. If they have any shot at stopping the Skrulls, they need to focus up. Right now, it's impossible to detect them. That needs to change. There's work to be done. And now, the clock is ticking. As Tony waits in silence, he contemplates the last year. The Avengers disbanding, a superhuman civil war, and now a secret invasion. But if the Skrulls are to be stopped, then Tony is going to need help. And as Doctor Strange approaches via the astral plane, Tony continues to stare at the Skrull body. What can they possibly do against a race of aliens that can avoid detection? How can they defeat something they can't even see? And as two more heroes approach, Iron Man ignores the presence of Black Bolt and Reed Richards. He needs to solve this problem. Nothing else in the world matters. The members of the highly secretive group, the Illuminati, stare down at the deceased Skrull, confusion painted on everyone's face. Everyone, including Professor Charles Xavier, the last member of the Illuminati. The group stands in solidarity, a foreboding sense of doom penetrating the still air. Tony unzips the body bag, careful in his movements as if scared to wake the dead, the contents of which fill the room with an uneasy dread. What could this mean? What exactly is coming? As Reed Richards checks the body, Tony informs the Illuminati that the new Avengers found this body. A Skrull pretending to be Elektra. A Skrull lording over the Japan crime underworld. And to make matters worse, nobody knows where Elektra is. Dead? Alive? A complete mystery. The Skrulls once came to Earth. We knew they'd be back. We just didn't know when. But if the Illuminati are going to stop this invasion, they need to figure out how to detect them. And they need to figure it out fast, before the world is in danger. Reed Richards begins explaining the plan. They're going to dissect the body and begin testing. And then...
Actually, I have a better idea. I take the body.
Namor quickly springs at the Skrull imposter, but is quickly thrown aside with ease. Whoever the Skrull is, they're powerful. And as Professor Xavier tries to intervene with a psychic attack, the Skrull reveals psychic powers of his own, and formidable powers at that. With two heroes out of the fight, Reed Richards looks to take the Skrull out from behind, but it's no good. Reed doesn't stand a chance. This Skrull is taking apart the Illuminati piece by piece. And now, it's Doctor Strange's turn as he summons the powerful bands of Cyttorak, effectively holding the Skrull in place. It's working. He can't move. Doctor Strange has contained the beast. Now they just have to... Realizing it's now or never, Namor knows it's time to end this fight as he grabs the Skrull from behind, tightening with all his strength. It tosses him directly into a sharp piece of debris, piercing his heart and sending the Skrull straight to hell. The Illuminati brush themselves off. That was a close call. The Illuminati have been infiltrated, but that's not all. This Skrull didn't come alone. It's time to take out the trash. As the Illuminati brush off the recent encounter, dread begins to set in. Elektra wasn't the last. Black Bolt, a valued member of the Illuminati, is now also gone. The plan today was clearly to assassinate the Illuminati. They know about their secret group. And they intended to cut the head off Earth's resistance to weaken any retaliation. And they almost succeeded. The Skrulls now seem to have the powers of some of Earth's greatest heroes. This isn't looking good. And before any more words can be shared, Namor flies off in a rage. There's nobody he can trust anymore. If Black Bolt was taken, who's to say any other person standing here is not a Skrull? A sentiment that is shared between all those present. This meeting is officially adjourned. And as everyone walks off in preparation for war, Tony Stark continues to stare at the Skrull body. Disbanded Avengers, a civil war, and now a secret invasion. will it ever end? His mind is in a state of disarray, but he needs to focus. The world needs him to think clearly. The Skrulls are undetectable, but that changes today. That's a problem that's going to be solved one way or another. And with the help of Hank Pym and Reed Richards, it's a problem that will be solved in no time at all. As the trio of men prepare for dissection, Tony steadies his nerves. He has a feeling that something bad is coming. And if only he knew just how right he was. A distress call coming in. It's from the Sword space station orbiting Earth. Something is headed in the direction of Earth, and it's moving fast. The dissection will have to go on without Tony. As he flies off in a hurry, looks like that bad feeling was right after all. Avengers assemble. Looking up at the monitor, Sword Director Abigail Brand stands with Commander Dugan. An unknown spacecraft coming in fast. It's headed right for Earth, and it's stopping for nobody. And to make matters worse, it's of Skrull origin. Why would a Skrull ship head to Earth? The Sword agent tells Director Brand that the Skrull ship is headed towards Antarctica. It's going to crash in the Savage Land. There's no stopping it now. The ship is moving too fast. It's going to crash. Looking on in horror, Director Brand tells the Sword agent to connect her with Tony Stark. They need the Avengers now. Back at Avengers Tower, Jessica Drew gets the update from Tony Stark. A Skrull ship has crashed in the Savage Land. Hanging up the phone, Jessica decides to make one final phone call. She betrayed her friends when she gave the Elektra Skrull to Tony Stark. Giving them a heads up is the least she can do. Besides, she needs to prove to everyone she's not a Skrull, Tony Stark's Avengers, and Luke Cage's. If there really is an invasion coming, then both teams of Avengers need to act. They need to put the Civil War behind them. And with the phone call made, Jessica hopes another war doesn't happen. The last thing the world needs is more blood.
What happened here?
Luke Cage. He stole your jet.
God damn it.
The Savage Land, located deep within Antarctica, a primal land filled with mystery. As the new Avengers trek through the forest, they're here to solve the only mystery that currently matters. A mystery that threatens the very existence of Earth. And with Wolverine leading the way, it's only a matter of minutes before the new Avengers find what they're looking for. The crashed Skrull ship. And it's still sealed shut. Whoever came crashing down is still inside. As the new Avengers debate on what to do, Wolverine tells the crew that their time has run out. Because, as expected, others have responded to the crash. They're not the only Avengers here. The new Avengers and Tony Stark's mighty Avengers stare each other down. Both teams looking to get to the bottom of the crash. Both teams suspicious of the other. Luke Cage tells Iron Man that they don't have time for this. They need to search the craft. But Tony tells him to stand down. They don't know what could be inside. Ignoring him, Luke walks over and pulls on the door, trying to rip it off its hinges, but it's strong. Back on the Sword space station, Director Brand and Commander Dugan watch in anticipation. The door's coming off. It's almost there. And with one final heave, the door unlocks.
He loves you.
Alien virus detected.
loves you.
Luke Cage and Spider-Man look back at the screaming Tony. Something is wrong. His armor is cooking him from the inside. It's as if a virus was implanted into his computer system, a virus that is wresting control away from Tony Stark. But the reality is much worse. It's not just Iron Man's suit that's bugging out. It's all of the Stark tech around the world. All over the world, Stark Enterprise buildings lose all control. Satellites begin falling out of Earth orbit, and prisons utilizing Stark tech go offline. All over the world, Stark technology has failed. The stage has been set for a complete and devastating invasion. Back in the Savage Land, Tony begins seizing up from the technological virus. The Avengers try to hold him down, unsure of what to do. But through the commotion, Wolverine hears footsteps behind him. And as the entire group turn to face the noise, they're met with surprise. Another twist for the day's events. One that stops every Avenger in their tracks. The Skrull ship is filled with Avengers. Back at the laboratory, Reed Richards and Hank Pym continue with their dissection, completely unaware of the impending invasion. But as Reed checks his math one last time, it hits him. He solved it. He knows exactly how the Skrulls are avoiding detection. But the answer is already known to Hank Pym, or rather, the Skrull imposter posing as him. With Reed Richards now out of the picture, the Hank Pym imposter prepares for the great invasion, but not before offering his final words of wisdom.
He loves you.
Tensions rise as both sets of heroes face each other down. And to make matters worse, both teams believe they are the true versions. Stepping forward, the god of war known as Ares instructs the Avengers to head back to New York. This is clearly a trap set by the Skrulls. Ares explains the Skrull strategy. If the heroes are kept busy here, then nobody's protecting New York. But Luke Cage is unable to pull himself away. He can't let these imposters roam free. Gritting his teeth, Wolverine agrees. This is a fight they can't walk away from. So it all comes down to this. There's only one way to solve this issue. And it's found on the battlefield. While the two teams of Avengers square off in a bloody frenzy, Carol grabs a dying Tony. She needs to find him help, and fast. The battle rages on. Nobody knows who's real and who's not. And as the Sentry and Vision fly off into the sky, the Skrulls make their first strategy clear. The Sentry is too powerful for the Skrulls, and he cannot be killed. So the Skrull Vision takes on the form of the Sentry's worst nightmare, the Void. The Sentry looks on in horror as his nightmare comes to life before his eyes. It's him, the Void. He's going to kill us all. He's going to destroy the world. This can't be real. I need to get out of here. And with the Skrull plan a success, the Sentry fearfully departs from the fight. Back on the battlefield, the Skrull Hawkeye begins taking aim at the heroes, but is quickly knocked unconscious by the real Clint Barton, who proceeds to steal his bow and arrows. It's time for the real Hawkeye to do some damage. Loosing arrows at the battle, Hawkeye can only hope he's hitting Skrulls. Shot after shot, he continues to unleash havoc, trying to do his best to help his friends. But the chaos is unending, and it's only getting worse by the minute. And as the Skrull Captain America stares down Barton, he's unsuspecting of the loud stomping in the background, something that Hawkeye felt coming minutes ago. The Savage Land is home to more dangerous creatures. 20 minutes have passed and both teams of fighters have scurried off into the jungle. Dinosaurs may be extinct around the world, but certainly not in the Savage Land. Returning to the scene of the battle, Wolverine and Luke Cage look around for the others. But all they find are Skrull bodies. It was a Skrull trap after all. The bastards really do want to take over Earth. They were meant to be here in the Savage Land. There must be a reason why. The Skrulls are planning something big. But the fight isn't over yet as Wolverine catches wind of an unfamiliar scent. Or rather, a scent of an Avenger long dead. With his claws out, Wolverine runs over to the scent. It has to be a Skrull, because she died years ago. Bobby Morse, Mockingbird. Wolverine grabs the Skrull and threatens her. Why are they invading Earth? But he's quickly interrupted by an arrow to his shoulder, causing him to throw the Skrull to the ground. Logan screams out to the jungle. There's only one person who would protect a Mockingbird Skrull, Clint Barton, her ex-husband. Aiming the bow, Clint asks the Skrull what's special about October 12th. Answer the question or die along with the other Skrulls. A tear slides down the Skrull's cheek as a painful memory is brought to light. Looking down in sadness, she tells him that many years ago, she was expecting a child with her then-husband, but instead, a miscarriage took the child away. Nobody knew about the pregnancy. Nobody except Clint Barton. October 12th was supposed to be the baby's birthday. Taking off the mask, Clint knows that this isn't a Skrull. It's actually Bobby. She's alive. Realizing that Bobby was kidnapped by the Skrulls, he quickly grabs her for an emotional reunion. He thought she was dead for so long. No Skrull would know about October 12th. Nobody knew besides them. But the happy reunion quickly passes, because a bigger battle is about to take place. One that requires the attention of every available hero. Because the world may not be ready for what comes next. The sun shines down on Manhattan. Its citizens have no idea the disaster headed their way. As Susan Storm stands in silence, she's prepared for the task at hand. She's prepared for the beginning of the end.
Warning, negative zone breach. Danger. Danger. Power levels catastrophic. Breach imminent. Goodbye.
As the Baxter building rips apart by the negative zone breach, the New Yorkers look on in horror. The young Avengers join in the confusion. What's happening here? Where's the Fantastic Four? But it's too late, as a Skrull warship lands above downtown Manhattan. The time has finally come, after years of planning. The Skrulls have come to eradicate humanity. A storm rages as a S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarrier floats helplessly against the endless onslaught of waves. With Stark Tech offline, S.H.I.E.L.D. is completely in the dark and Maria Hill is separated from the fight. Taking some soldiers, Maria goes to the flight deck to see just where in the world the helicarrier landed, but she isn't ready for what she finds. It's a man, just standing there by himself. How did he even get here? Looking closer, Maria Hill recognizes this man as Jarvis, the butler of the Avengers. What the hell is Jarvis doing here? Approaching amidst the storm, Jarvis calmly greets Maria Hill, a sly smile forming across his face. He tells her that he's ready to accept her total and unconditional surrender. Earth has lost this war. The Battle of New York rages on as the young Avengers do their part. The Skrull warriors destroy everything in their path. They know New York needs to be the first to fall, and they will win for their queen. And as the young Avenger known as Hulkling tries to call out to the Skrulls, they divert their hostile attention towards the shapeshifter. Blasting him with all their powers combined, he doesn't stand a chance. And as Wiccan turns his attention to the onslaught, he stares in shock at the next incoming Skrull, whose gigantic size is an overwhelming force for the young Avenger. As Wiccan is sent flying ruthlessly into a nearby building, the destruction is terrifying. Heroes from all over America begin joining the fight, determined to save their planet from the Skrull invasion, determined to show the galaxy why Earth is off the menu. But the terrifying truth is difficult to grasp. The Skrulls are winning this fight, and so far, it's a clear victory in the making. With no Avengers to speak of, the Skrulls are making short work of Earth's inexperienced heroes. The warriors prematurely cheer for their queen's victory. She will be proud indeed, and the citizens of New York have no choice but to watch the terror unfold. The Skrulls are decimating Earth's defense. These Super Skrulls are more powerful than before, and as the Vision proclaims that Earth will win this fight, the Skrulls have their own answer, and it's written in blood. As a powerful blast rips through the Vision's face, obliterating him at once. The chaos continues as the Skrulls approach victory. The Queen's soldiers have done well. But wait, what's happening now? An earthquake is shaking New York to its core. The strength is unbelievable. Looking down in confusion, the Skrull general feels his heart shaking. It feels like it's going to explode, and explode it does. Covered in their general's blood, the Skrulls look up in surprise. The ultra-powerful Quake has arrived, and with her, Nick Fury and his band of secret warriors, and they refuse to let Earth be taken by a scumbag queen and her insects. Over in the Savage Land, Tony Stark is brought to an abandoned laboratory, too sick to go any further. The virus has knocked all of Stark Tech offline and it's slowly killing him. There's only one way out of this mess. Tony needs to rebuild his armor. He needs new technology that the Skrulls can't knock offline. He screams at Carol to get back to New York. They'll need her for what's coming, and he has work to do. It's almost time for the world to change ownership, and Jessica Drew will be there for the celebration. She just needs to check one more item off her list. Looking up to the trees, Jessica spots Maya Lopez, the new Avenger known as Echo. That's too bad. No witnesses allowed. As she grabs Echo from behind and proceeds to brutally choke her, and as a finishing touch, zaps her with a powerful Venom blast before throwing her unconscious body into the grass. Stupid Avengers. Tinkering away at his latest creation, Tony Stark works on his new armor. If the Avengers are going to stop the invasion, then he needs to hurry up. But wait, what is she doing here? Exhausted, Tony tells Jessica to leave. He's running out of time to solve this mess, but Jessica tells him to relax. It's all over now. The invasion has already begun. The Avengers lost. Humanity is on its way out. Jessica tells Tony that he did a good job tricking the Avengers. He did good splitting America in two. The Civil War, turning the population against Captain America and becoming the head of S.H.I.E.L.D. The invasion couldn't have happened without all of it. Terrified, Tony screams that he's not a Skrull. He's a human. He's an Avenger. What the hell is Jessica talking about? But she isn't Jessica. She never was. Jessica hasn't been on Earth in years. Ever since she joined the New Avengers, she was never Jessica Drew. Instead, she was the first cog in the machine. A machine that would eventually take over Earth. A new kingdom for her to rule. She just had to wait her turn and play along as an Avenger. She just had to wait until now. But Queen Veranki is not the only undercover Skrull. The secret invasion owes everything to this Skrull imposter. The secret invasion owes everything to Tony Stark.
And that's it for part 1 of The Secret Invasion. With the big reveal that Spider-Woman was actually a Skrull imposter the entire time, a bigger question still awaits. Has Tony Stark been a Skrull the entire time alongside her? Again, only time will tell. Stay tuned for the conclusion of The Secret Invasion. Till next time, I'm Nashology, and this is A Marvelous Life.